Good afternoon. I'm Anita Tebbe, and I'm delighted to see the people that are here as well as the people that are home. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. What we're going to talk about today is Ireland, and Ireland meaning the Republic of Ireland as well as Northern Ireland. But before I do that, I want to thank some people that are responsible for having me stand right here. And these wonderful slides that I wish I could say I did myself is due to Phyllis Moore, who helps me with PowerPoints. Yeah. Phyllis teaches here in continuing ed, and she teaches classes on PowerPoint and Excel and those kind of courses. She also makes house calls. So just a little plug there. Okay. She didn't know I was going to do that. Yeah. Okay. Another person that is always responsible, the power behind the throne, is Marilyn Garnes, who is on the board. And she is now the technology coordinator. And we'll give her a nice hand. Thank you, Marilyn. And Marilyn has replaced Jonathan Bacon, who is also here with his lovely wife, Joan. And we all know that Jonathan is irreplaceable, but Marilyn is doing a superb job. Thank you so much, Marilyn. So let's get into the matter today. And so when I have been to Ireland twice, and that's unusual because I have traveled in the last 20 years, probably 25 different countries outside the United States, and I love traveling. And I made it a point that I would never go back to another country, but there's always exceptions to every rule. And this was a very personal one. My sister, who always had the dream of she and her husband going to Ireland, and they even had the tickets bought, and unfortunately he got sick and he died this past December. And so she said to me, would you consider taking me to Ireland? And I said, I would be honored. And excuse me, and I was. And it was a wonderful trip. It's the first time she had ever traveled outside the United States. And she said to me, and I was saying this to a few other people, we're very different in personalities, but get along very well. And she said, so Anita, you're the energy bunny, go, 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 go. And I'm not, I'm the normal one. So we got to find a middle. I said, okay, I'll tone down and you tone up and we'll get along fine. And we did. It was just a grand trip. And we oftentimes get on the phone. She lives in Phoenix, and we just relive this wonderful trip. So what we have here now is Ireland is an island, and it's in the northwest part of Europe, and it's divided. And it's divided into 1/5 and 4/5. And the 1/5 is the Northern Ireland part, which belongs to Great Britain. And that consists of 6 counties. And that is the English flag here, the Great Britain flag. And Great Britain consists of Wales, Scotland, England, and Northern Ireland. So we put those 4 together. That is United Kingdom or Great Britain. Okay. And that's in the northeast part of the island. And then the other 4/5 belongs to the Republic of Ireland. And we can see that right here. So we see Northern Ireland, the northeast part, and the capital is Belfast, 6 counties there. And we'll talk about those counties in a while. And then we have the Republic of Ireland. And of course, I already forgot to acknowledge somebody. And as soon as I said Northern Ireland, I remembered it. Helen Bernstead, who a lot of you know, we were having breakfast a couple of weeks ago, and I told her I was doing this. And I said to her, have you ever been there? And she said, oh, yes, I have. And I said, what was your impression of Northern Ireland? And it was different from mine. And I said, I would like you to share your insights, and I want to share my insights. And probably somewhere in between is reality. Okay. So what I want to say to you is that I am very Irish. And when I say Irish, I mean I'm from the Republic of Ireland. Okay. And sometimes we don't like Northern Ireland and Northern Ireland doesn't like us. There's a tension there, okay, that a lot of people are not aware of. And so I wanted to disclose that to you, but I also want to tell you that of my Irish background, I also am from the county of Armagh, which is in Northern Ireland. So there's a little sliver of English in me. Okay, so if you look at my genealogy, which I know this isn't what we came to talk about, but I'm 50% Irish, about 40% German, and then there's a sliver of English in there. Okay, so I'm trying to be kind to all my forebears. Okay, all right, so let's go. Oh, let me go back. Okay, I think it's important. Thank you. Thank you. Dublin is on the east coast of the Republic of Ireland, and so is Belfast, which is the capital of Northern Ireland. They're only about 100 miles apart, and you can take a train. They have a number of train times that go up there, and it takes you about 2 hours. And we didn't go that way, but that's one way that you can do it. I was on a bus the whole time with my sister, the first and the second time. Okay. The island of Ireland, so we're talking about the whole thing, all 32 counties, they've had some very definite influences and they acknowledge that. And one of the things I love about Ireland is their preservation of their past. They're very, very careful to talk about their thatch roofs and their weavers, and of course, their pubs, and we'll get to that in a while. But it dates back way back to the Celtic influence, and they were tribes that lived in what would be the mid part of Europe now. And they came to Ireland and left a strong influence there. If you know the step dancing, which is very Irish, and if you go into pubs, you oftentimes see them, okay? And they are men and women that do that dancing, which I love, of course, and they stand very straight from the waist up. They're like wooden soldiers, and the whole dance is with their feet. Very complicated and just incredible. You can't imagine that feet can move that fast. And so I was telling Phyllis coming, I said, of course, I get all caught up in my little pieces that I have to investigate. So I go, so how are those shoes that they wear different from tap shoes? And again, this might be the most important thing you learn today. Okay, so the tap shoe, of course, has the tap on the front part of it as well as the back part. But on the shoes that the step dancers, it is a leather sole, but it's fiberglass at the end. So you hear that click, 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 and that's what it is, okay? And as I said, so when you go home and say, so what did you learn? You said, well, she's talking about shoes for some reason. Okay, good. Okay. There's also a huge Viking influence, the Scandinavians, and the two cities that were two original cities of what is now the Republic of Ireland, Waterford and Cork, were founded by the Vikings, and they have preserved that history. And you can go to, you see the Viking ships preserved, and again, we'll talk about that. And then we have the English influence, and that's from the 1500s on, very strongly. And that's the time of the Tudors. And that's not a good time for the Republic of Ireland, okay, that they were controlled by England. And they refer to it as the penal laws, where their liberties were taken away. They were made to be serfs or slaves of the land that was taken away from them. And they also had a lot of political rights that were taken away, voting, holding office. Some of them remember that like it was yesterday. Okay, there's also the religious difference, and the religious difference is that Northern Ireland is primarily, or it's Protestant, and the southern part is strongly Catholic, and there's a tension because of that. Okay, and I looked up the statistics, and this was interesting to me. In Northern Ireland, those 6 counties that are part of Great Britain, Protestant is 46% of the population of the religion. The Catholics is 44%. Okay, so not that sharp difference that it used to be. But if you look at the Republic of Ireland, it's about 70% Catholic and about 20% Protestant. And so again, we're not going to get into religious wars, but that is always an underlining factor when you're talking about this island. Okay. Okay, now here is my sister and I, and this was the bus that we went on, and it's a CIE tour. If you want an excellent tour that goes to Great Britain and goes to Ireland, this is the company. Now, they didn't pay me to say that. Okay, it's very reasonable. That's what they specialize in. And I spent, more time than I should. I go, what does that CIE stand for? I finally, about 10 o'clock last night, said, it stands for, it's Celtic. And I can't say what it means, but it means the traveling company. Okay, so it doesn't translate into the English like we wanted to. Okay, so here's the Republic of Ireland. This is obviously and it's officially Ireland today. So if you say Ireland, you are talking about the Republic of Ireland, the 26 counties. And you can see if you find Dublin over there on the east side, that's okay. Oops. Oh, we're gonna find it, okay. Yeah. So the Dublin is the capital there. And the first trip I went on, which was it was pre-COVID, it was about 2018, and I just went with friends. And we went, it was the same tour group. So you start at Dublin and you go down south, and then you go west, and then you come up the coast to Galway, okay? And then you go across, and going across is about 130 miles, okay? And that's what we did. Okay, so we just saw the Republic of Ireland, and I was happy with that. But this time my sister said to me, I said, well, just do the same trip that we did before. It was just wonderful, and I have so much to show and share with you, and the best tour company in the world for the price. And she said, well, what about Northern Ireland? And I said, well, why would we want to go to Northern Ireland? And she said, because we have family from there. And I said, I'm amazed that you know that. And she said, Anita, you're the genealogist in the family. I read what you send. And I said, well, I'm so happy to hear that. I said, of course, we'll go to Northern Ireland. And I'm very happy that she insisted on that. It was enriching to go to that area. So if you look at this, and you can see Donegal is the county Donegal. They always put county first. So the white space over there, that's Northern Ireland. Okay, it is an island. It's surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. It is absolutely breathtaking in its natural beauty. Its beauty of mountains, its beauty of rolling hills, its beauty of the sea. I think it's one of the most, and I've only traveled to 25 countries, one of the most gorgeous countries in the world. It's smaller than Kansas. Now we're talking about the Republic of Ireland. And I looked at several sources. They say it's about the size of Indiana. Okay, but it's only about 100 miles across, and it's longer than it is wider. Okay. Well, maybe we're supposed to stay on this one here. Anyone want to count the 26? See if I got them all there. Okay. Yep. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Okay. That's why Phyllis is here. If that had happened to me, I'd walked out the door and said, it was good talking to you. Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. So we're going to talk a few minutes about Ireland, and then we're going to do the big tour where we go all the way around. And the most gorgeous part of the Republic of Ireland is the south and the southwest. And if you go there, you absolutely have to see that. And then if you go up to the Donegal part and then come down to Belfast. So we made the big circle is what we did. Now, I only spent 24 hours in Belfast. And that's why I say what I say you take with a grain of salt, and Helen is going to straighten us out on that. Okay. Right. So here is, and let me just turn my pages here so I make sure I get all this right. Okay. This is Dublin, and it's a very clean city. It's a very safe city. And I would say the very same about Belfast. Okay. Walk around, it's an easy, both are easy cities to walk around in. And lots of people do it, as my sister and I did when we had free time. It is, of course, the capital. It's 1.5 million people. Okay. The size of Belfast is about 300,000. Okay, so it's much smaller. One of the best museums, and I think it's, I don't see it talked about at all, is the Epic or the Irish Immigration Museum. Now, immigration means the people that left Ireland, and there's been massive people that have left there, and especially during the potato famine. Now, I thought again, I bet that EPIC stands for something. Well, it stands for epic, meaning large, big people, a lot of people left. It doesn't mean, and one of the sources I said says, it really means every person is connected. Every person is connected. And the Irish are very proud of not only their country, but the people that have left the country and spread this wonderful Irish spirit. Okay. Let me just back up a minute here. Sorry, people. And when you go on these tours, the tickets to get into all these museums are paid for, so people ask me when I do these, well, how much? Well, they usually run about 10 to, if you were doing it on your own, and a number of my relatives have done that, just rent a car and go on your own, they usually run about $10 for senior citizens. Okay, these tickets to these museums. One of the things about this is they do a huge thing on the potato famine, which was 1845 to 1851. And that's when 1 million people left Ireland because of starvation. And that the potato famine, which is a main source of their food, did not do well. Okay. Now, 1 million people died in the Republic of Ireland during that time. Okay, so we lost, and you talk to Irish people, they know this history and they know it well. They lost 2 million people during that time, million coming, and a lot of those millions came to the United States. And if you're Irish, and as I am, that's probably when a lot of your family came here. Okay, and we'll talk about a lot of them left from Dublin and then went down the Atlantic Ocean and then into the Atlantic Ocean. A lot of these Irish immigrants at this time, the three cities that most of them went to were New York and Boston and Chicago, and they have huge Irish populations now dating back to this time. Okay, but a wonderful museum. They have a big display of the Vikings there and how much the Vikings influenced them. And they show a ship in the bottom of the museum that is a ship that was used to bring all these Irish to the United States during this time. And there were 50 of us in this, or there were 44 of us on this trip that my sister and I went on. And so we're standing in the back on this boat, and well, you could maybe have gotten 100 people, on this and be comfortable. They had 300 people on these kind of boats, and a lot of them died on, died on the way from diseases that spread rapidly, rats, shortage of food. So a lot of these million didn't actually make it. But I was just, and I tend to be claustrophobic. I was like, I have to get out of here. How, and I said, how are they sleeping? If you have 300 people here, said, well, they take turns doing it, Okay, all right, let's go to the next one. Okay. One of the treasures of the Republic of Ireland is Trinity College, which is right in the middle of downtown. And it was started with Queen Elizabeth I, who was the last of the Tudors. And the Book of Kells is there. And the Book of Kells is the sacred book of the four Gospels. And the monks, I hope you're following me. Are we on the right thing here? Is everybody with me? Okay. The monks and one of the jobs of the monks were to, because we didn't have printing presses, was to share the Bible. And these were the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And they would write it in Latin, and then they would share it and give it to different libraries or different sources. But they would also have these beautiful illustrations. And if you go there and you walk in, it reminded me of the National Archives in Washington, D.C. You see a picture of one of these. It is the real thing, and it's under glass. And then you see these mammoth posters that have a reproduction of not only the manuscript, the Latin, but also these pictures. I could have spent days in there. Okay. The cultural treasure of Ireland is the Book of Kells, and it's in the library on Trinity College. Okay. Going back to when and why, Elizabeth just said, we need to have an educated population. And she said, and it is open to everybody. And everybody, when you say everybody, you mean regardless of religion or no religion. Okay. Ireland is full of castles and churches, and this is one of the most famous in Dublin, and it's the St. Patrick's Cathedral. All these cathedrals, and they're so gorgeous. I mean, even if you're going into them for their architectural beauty, nothing to do with spirituality, although certainly can be done for that. Beautiful architecture, both inside and out, the mosaics, the stained glass windows. I mean, if you've seen a Notre Dame, these are as certainly match them in beauty, just probably not as well known. Always on a beautiful piece of property. Okay. And those years give that they keep renovating this gorgeous church, 1200, 1400, and 1800. Yeah. You've seen one castle, you've seen them all. Well, you see a lot in the Republic of Ireland and also in Northern Ireland. They are, this one I really liked, because what they have done is, and again, they're beautiful structures. And again, I wish I had more of a background in architectural history. This one has been turned into a working castle. And what that means is that they have turned it into a government building. And then they have a Viking expedition, huge Viking expedition again, and then very, very nice restaurants there. So we took a tour of it, and I was very much impressed by the practicality that they've done. You want to go any castle, and I'm sure many of you have been in them. I mean, they're gorgeous, you know, and their furnishings, their just the sight of them, the carpets, you know, I think of a Versailles and outside of Paris. I mean, there's just no way of describing these, but you know, they're wonderful monuments and tributes to the country, but they've turned this into a active, productive building here, and it's very well done. Okay, well, we couldn't be talking about Ireland without talking about the beer and the whiskey. Okay, and so Ireland, and we're talking the Republic of Ireland, are known for their Guinness beer, which they make there, and they call it the black stuff. So if you go into a restaurant and say, I want the black stuff, that's what you're talking about. And I have to admit that my sister and I did not go through this, okay? We had a day when we came back from Belfast, and we had a free day, and I guess you can tell who we are. We decided to go to Trinity College, and we had a wonderful day there. And you go, So you're going to a library, and the rest of the group is going to, a lot of them went to the Guinness Beer Museum. And it's 7 stories high, as it says there, and they have a wonderful restaurant. It was renovated in 2020 and very modern. And I talked to a number of the people at dinner that night, and they even had free samples at the end of the tour, which they all enjoyed. Now, not far from the Guinness Beer Museum is the Jameson whiskey distillery, which Ireland is known for. And again, we did not choose to go through that. So these pictures are not obviously any pictures that I took. But as you walk in, you have this gorgeous chandelier. If you're looking on what I would say is the right side of the page, or the east side. And that's the top. And then you have the whiskey bottle at the bottom. And at least very impressive, according to the friends that I talked to. Okay, so then we have the pubs, and we have the pubs, and we have the pubs. Okay, in Ireland, they say that they have 30,000. I checked that number several times, of castles. Now that's castles and ruins of castles. And I go, and how many pubs? They go, well, a lot. And I go, I bet they're 30,000. Okay, every street corner has them. They're just wonderful places to visit. Now, because I get very caught up in words, I go, so you say pubs, and you say bars, and you say restaurants. Are you saying the same thing? And the tour guide, who was wonderful, Tony, said, well, Anita, there's really a strict difference, but we use the words interchangeable. All 3 of them serve food and drink. Okay, the restaurants emphasize more the food, the bars emphasize more the drink, and the pubs emphasize both and the social aspect to them. They're like community centers they go to, and they go to these oftentimes, well, sometimes every night they go to these, and they've put some restrictions on them. And the restrictions are that children are now allowed to be in them. So they're not, I don't know what they were like pre-children, but they're very crowded, but very fun to be at. They also close at 2 in the morning, where they would be open all the time, just to control it sometime. Now, we all know, and I certainly being Irish know this, sometimes Irish are known to drink, and this is how they say it, a wee too much. A wee too much, okay. And so if you look in Dublin and a lot of the cities, both in Northern Ireland and Ireland, you see doors that are painted bright colors like yellow, green, purple, and sometimes even the buildings are. And so Tony said to us, well, the story behind that is when we drink a wee too much and we can't find our door, because all the apartments look alike, the yellow one is mine. We can get the color, so if that's right or not. Well, in these pubs, you oftentimes hear the Irish music, and it's professional music. I go, why aren't these people on the stage? Why aren't they on Broadway? They're so good. And when you have the instruments, you always have the fiddle, and usually several of them, the accordion, the banjo. You have different whistles. And then oftentimes you have the step dancers there, and there's no like cover charge. This is just part of the whole atmosphere, and it's just so fun. And I'll just tell you, and if you don't mind this very personal thing, and just how Irish I am, my father would always say, there are 2 kinds of people in this world, those that are Irish and those who wish they were Irish. And I grew up with that mentality, okay? But my mother, who was a gifted pianist and 100% Irish, oftentimes wonderful memories I have is she would sit down at the piano after dinner and play Irish songs. And excuse me, and she would say to us, you can come and sing if you want, or just listen to me. And I hear Galway Bay, I hear Take Me Home Again, Kathleen, and I go, I have heard that song 1,000 times, and never too much. When we get choked up by it. Okay. Irish is not known for its food, except for maybe its Irish stew. which you can have a lot of, which is, it can be beef, it can be lamb, it can be other kinds of meat, mixed with lots of vegetables, especially the potatoes. And also they have the Irish bread, where they don't use the yeast, but they use baking soda instead. And just you walk into a pub or a restaurant and you immediately smell that and go, will be part of the menu that I will order. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, now what we're going to do is do a quick tour here, and we'll make it quick here. Oh my goodness, we'll make it very quick. Okay, so what we're going to do is go through 6 places in the Republic of Ireland. Okay, so we have the 26 counties, and you can find Dublin, right? Okay, on the east side. Okay, now go south, because you always want to go south, and find Waterford. Okay, so Waterford is the crystal capital of the world. Okay, and that was our first place that we went, and that was a town that the Vikings started. Okay, why don't we flip that? Okay, and they make the crystal there, and you go through this tour, and it's fascinating to me. First of all, I mean, it's like, where Mary Jean and her husband are sitting, which is about 20 feet from where I am. You're just walking by and watching these, and there's no like big fence or anything that's keeping you. And I go, this is amazing that you're right there where they're doing it. They make the molds first, so you see that whole area. And then they have these people that blow through this and the fire, and they shape it. And then there is what I call, they didn't call it this, a furnace person that takes it and then puts it in the furnace. And he's told, how long he should keep it in there and how to turn it. And then brings it back to this person who does some more of his work. And then you have these gorgeous pieces. And they always have the inspectors that come, and they're standing right there. And so the crystal and the glass that we're all used to is at the bottom there. But you have Cinderella over there. Now, interesting, and I couldn't believe this. It says the Kansas City Chiefs on that, and it's a 2020. Okay, so somebody ordered it. I guess they didn't quite pick it up yet. Okay, but just incredible what they make, and little tin soldiers, and it just went on and on. I could again stayed there all day, but this is something that they have preserved from the past. I mean, who does that today in the United States or any country? Okay, then we went to County Cork, which is, we're going now southwest here, and that's the city of Blarney, and Blarney means a lot of nonsense. Okay, and you have the castle of Blarney and the beautiful gardens, and you can go up the square tower there, and you can kiss the stone of Blarney, and you have to go up steep steps. And then you have to lie on your back and grab straps, and then you kiss it from underneath. And I don't know if that sounds appealing to you, but it didn't sound appealing to my sister and I, so we did not do that. Okay, we toured the gardens, and they were just breathtaking. Okay. The last stop in County Cork is the city of Cove, and they pronounce it that way, like C-O-V-E. That's a hidden treasure in Ireland, and basically it's a seaport city right there in the southern part in the County Cork. I'm trying to say. They've had 2 sea things that have happened there that are important. It was the last stop for the Titanic, which we know never quite made it, but there was a wonderful tour of that where they stopped and let people off. And 7 people got off and 100 got on. Okay. And it was too bad the ratio wasn't different. And so we know many of them drowned in the Atlantic Ocean. Also in 1915, and that was 1915, the sinking of the Lusitania was right there. And that was that British liner that was, it was during World War I, before we actually got involved in it. But we had it was a passenger ship, a British passenger ship, and it was attacked by the Germans and sunk. Okay. And so they have a special memorial to that. a lot of the people that died were then buried in the cemetery there. So two tragic ship things that are part of this. Very quaint city, very friendly, very outgoing. Okay, let's go on here. Okay, everybody talks about the Ring of Kerry. It is a 110-mile car ride around the beautiful, gorgeous scenery of Ireland. You see the sea, you see the mountains, you see the countryside. We only went around it about half of it, okay? Please notice it's a two-laner and notice the car. And I just go, well, if I'm going to die, it's not bad to die in Ireland. You know, I mean, it's just unbelievable the speed that they're going at and on these sharp curves. Okay, going again. And that's in County Kerry. Okay, this is, of course, one of my favorites. And these are the sheep herding, and this is in County Kerry. So we're going up the coast here on the southwest side. And these are collie dogs that are border collies is what I'm trying to say. And they herd these sheep, and they don't do it by nipping at the sheep, although they will do that. And they don't do it by barking at the sheep, but they will do it. They do it by eye contact. They look at the sheep and get their eye contact. And the dog is telling the sheep, I'm in charge and you better do what I say. And they do. Now, the person that is controlling all this is the owner of the sheep, and he has a whistle. He blows it a certain way, and the dog knows to move the sheep to the right or the left or forward or backwards. And it's incredible what they do. And these sheep, I just go, now sheep, if you see the size of you and the dog, you could win. They don't quite get that, okay? It's an amazing, and if you go there, and I know they do this in other countries, but fascinating. Okay, then coming up the west side is the Cliffs of Moher. And this is the spot in the Republic of Ireland to see. Okay, this is the most popular one. 1 million people go there every year. It has everything there, the mountains, the ocean, the wide open space. It's just unbelievable. And you can read the statistics there. A lot of wild birds there. Now at the bottom, and I didn't take this picture, but there's obviously a man proposing to a woman there. You see the surfing, you see the swimming, you see the fishing, you see the sailing. I could have stood there forever. It's just unbelievable and worth a trip to Ireland just to see. Oops. Okay. Now, the lively place, whoops, okay, here are the things. So you keep going on these country roads and you see the cottages, which they have preserved, and some people live in them. And it's the thatch roofs that you're intrigued by. And how they make them is they have the wood first down, then they put the sod on, and then they take handfuls of straw, 5,000 handful of straw, and then they put it in there and they weave it a certain way. And these are called the thatchers. And that is a dying art, but they still do it, okay? And they preserve these cottages, and as I say, some people live in it. Then you have the rock walls. The country of Ireland isn't all used for agriculture because it can't be. It's very rocky, especially around the mountains. So they use it for pastures. You see, used for the cows and the horses and the sheep, and you can see that there. And one of my Irish friends said to me, well, the reasons why the Great Britain didn't take all the counties, just took the 6, was they didn't want all our rocks. Okay, so the place to be is County Galway. This is the young, alive cultural center of Ireland. And you can see it, and they have a big festival every year. But this is the growing area of Ireland, Galway. Okay. Now we went up, and this was with my sister. If I was on the first trip, then we went from Galway back to Dublin, right across. But this we went up to Donegal, okay, because we want to see Belfast. And this is the weaving industry that they have preserved. And you see the weavers for Ireland. And again, just fascinating watching them turn this wool into thread, which then becomes coats and hats and scarves, and some of you, I'm sure, have some of those. Okay. Okay. Now let's go to United Kingdom, and then we're going to let Helen talk. Here's the United Kingdom, and you can see that it's made up of Scotland, England, Scotland in the north, England on the east, Wales on the south, and then Northern Ireland on the west. Okay, that is the country of Great Britain of the United Kingdom. Okay, those are the 6 counties that stayed with the British, while the rest of the country, the other 26 counties, then became an independent country in 1921. Okay, only 100 years ago. Okay. Okay, now here are the 6 counties that remained with England, and you can see them, you can read them there. And I said I was from the Armagh area, okay, Antrim, Armagh, and you can go through them. Okay, so these are the 6 that are in that northwest, northeast, to get my directions right. And then it's separated by the Irish Sea, and you go here and you're going to run into Great Britain. Okay. Okay. This is the capital city of Belfast. It's an industrial city. It has a lot of diversity in it. Its main industry is shipbuilding. This is where the Titanic was built, as many other ships. It's also called Linopolis, which means it's the linen capital of the world. Okay. All right. Continue. Okay. All right. This is worth a visit to the Belfast area, the marvelous Titanic Museum. And as you come up, this is all aluminum. It's made like a ship. And then they have the big ship boats and shipyard. And Helen is going to talk more about that. They recommend you spend several hours there. And that even hardly touches the surface of it. Incredibly well done. Okay, Belfast has their cathedrals here, just like Ireland does, the castles. Okay, we've seen those. Let's just go through those. Okay, they have a university that they're very proud of, like the Republic of Ireland has Trinity. They have the Queen's University, built by Queen Victoria in 1845. Again, non-denominational higher education. We don't care what your religion is, what your race is, you're all welcome there. They're very strong on education. The whole island is. Okay. Beautiful gardens here. These gardens are known the world around. The Victorian Glass House with a special area for tropical plants. Okay. All right, now here's where we come, and it's almost time for Helen here. Okay, from 1960 to 1998, so basically 40 years, is called the Troubles. You talk to Irish people, they talk about the Troubles. And this is where Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, were having serious problems. And part of it was that the 2 sides wanted to join into one country, and neither wanted to give in on how it was all going to work. They also had a long history dating back to the Tudors that we mentioned about not getting along and having a lot of their rights taken away. This is in Londonderry, which is one of the 6 counties of Northern Ireland. And this is called the Peace Bridge. PEACE. We're trying to get this so that we can solve this problem and not have this underlying tension. It's like peaceful coexistence, but at any time it could possibly explode. Okay, this is one of the most beautiful statues, reaching across the divide. This also is in Londonderry. Now, it's also called Derry, and it's called Londonderry. Either is acceptable. That's the county, and that's also the city, okay? And what you have are one person is representing the Republic of Ireland, the other is representing Northern Ireland, and that they're almost touchy. I don't know if you can quite see, they're not quite touchy, but we're trying to get so that we can live together in real peace and substantive peace. They have the recollection of the Bloody Sunday that they can all talk about, where there were Irish protesters from Republic of Ireland that were killed in that area. And there was President Clinton that negotiated the peace treaty, and he did a superb job, but there's still that undercurrent tension. Okay, let me just give you one last thing. And Tony, who was our bus driver and our tour guide, marvelous man, and he's from the Republic of Ireland. And he said to us, so we're going into Northern Ireland. I came a definite road because there's certain roads that aren't safe for Republic of Ireland people to travel on. You Americans are fine, but I'm not. Okay, and they can tell by looking at me and talking to me that I'm from the Republic of Ireland. Okay, he said, I'm parking the bus in a special place that is secure. Okay, I'm not leaving the hotel. You are safe to leave the hotel. Okay, now that was his perspective. And I was like, whoa, where is this coming from? Okay, he told the joke, and I think it's summarized, summarized very well the attitude of some of these people. He said, so Henry VIII, the second of the Tudor kings, shows up in front of the pearly gates, and St. Peter says, I just don't know if I can let you in. You know, you had 6 wives, you beheaded 2 of them, you divorced some of them. It's just not a real good track record, Henry. He said, and then he stopped. He said, you know, I'm going to let you in, Henry. I'll tell you why. You got 6 mother-in-laws that can hardly wait to talk to you. Okay. Now, that's how Tony's humor was the whole time. You know, you were like, okay, we got one more joke. Now I know it's against the, Northern Ireland, but you need to hear this. This is a really good one. Okay. All right. And talking to my friend, Anne, who I said to you, she said about the rocks, that, well, of course they didn't take the rest of it because it's rocky. And then I have a niece who's married to a man who's from Ireland, born and raised there, and now they live in Chicago. And I said, so Stephen, what about the Troubles? And he just, his face goes, the Troubles, not a good time, Anita. And I said, tell me about it. Same kind of attitude that Tony had. Now, Helen did not get that when she was there. So I have one bias, and from 3 people, statistically, that's about nothing talking to 3 people, and that's what I'm telling you. So I want Helen to tell us a little bit about her experience.
Thank you, Anita. And hello, friends.
Are you there, Helen?
Yes, I am.
Oh, we hope Helen's there.
Are you not hearing me?
See where she is.
I'm here.
Oh. Where is Helen?
Are you seeing me?
Let me just fill in here. Helen didn't have that undercurrent at all. She said nobody ever said anything. She felt I felt perfectly safe there. I said I felt perfectly safe there too, but I'm not from the Republic of Ireland. Okay. So
are you not able to hear me?
we can get her.
We all hear you. They're on the Zoom, Helen, but they may not be able to hear you in the class.
Hey.
I can't tell. Yeah, I'm trying to find her.
I'm not seeing you on my computer. I'm seeing you guys over on the side. So if you can hear me, you can look at the PowerPoint that Phyllis put together.
Maybe we have everybody muted. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Microphone US.
I can hear you, Helen.
I wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
change anything there. Let's see where
Let's
the
look at
participants,
the
go back to participants. She is here.
Yeah. But
Okay. Okay.
But she's not muted.
She's not muted. Helen, we can't hear you.
Well, and I don't know what I can do about that, Marilyn.
Marilyn and Jim can hear you.
Okay.
And see you.
No.
Yeah, I
Change
can hear
the
you,
host.
Dave.
I don't know if we want to do that.
We hear you on Zoom.
Well,
You're fine.
maybe we should we change a host? No, don't change the host. Okay.
Oh. Okay,
Did you change it?
I did. We'll go back.
So I become host now? Well, that,
You're too quick.
Reclaim. Okay.
I know, I hate to put you on the spot, Jonathan, but is there anything that we can, that we're?
Here, let's
Here's
go to
chat.
See,
Yeah, go to chat.
You guys check the volume.
The volume.
It's on her bench. She's unmuted. She just has to speak.
Yeah.
Raises her volume.
She has,
you. Okay. Who can see your message? Chat. I don't know how to get down. Move down.
yeah, go down.
I don't see where the chat
It's-
is.
Here, go back up to that box. Yeah.
Group message. Jim joined.
Helen, we just can't hear you and you're not muted.
okay, well, then I think Anita should just sort of talk about what I had to say. The one thing that
She can just get on a phone and talk.
Well, maybe we should call her from here. If we can dial from here, we can put her on speaker. That would be better.
So are you calling my?
I probably
phone?
have her phone. number.
Oops, sorry.
Do you have her phone number?
I do.
Helen, we're calling you.
You want mobile or home? Two mobile.
Probably mobile.
913, of course, 515.
Hold on.
I think you might.
3441.
3442.
I don't know if you have to use a 9 first, but
Oh, okay, so we're.
Your call cannot be.
yeah, you gotta put a 9.
Please consult your
I
direct
did put the 913 in.
or ask your operator for assistance.
I'm sorry for the problem.
That's okay. We all know about technology. That's.
Jeez.
Your call cannot be completed if dialed.
All right, we'll try it
Please
again.
consult your direct.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna call her on this. Well, we can't both be
Your
calling.
call cannot be completed if dialed.
Oh, do we have to dial 9 to get out? Okay, that's.
Helen,
I'm
are
here.
you there?
Yeah,
Helen,
can
are you
you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on speaker on my phone.
But we can't put her on
Okay, let me see
speaker.
here.
Tell her to
Okay,
hang up and I'll
talk
call her.
again.
I'm on speaker on my phone. Can you
Here.
hear me?
Here, put it up here to this.
Okay,
Put it up to this.
okay,
Put the phone down. Just put it there.
okay, talk, Helen.
Okay. I want you to know I speeded all the way home from Hutchison in order to do this. And so this is frustrating.
Okay, no, we got you. We're fine. We just don't
Okay.
see your beautiful face, but we hear your gorgeous voice.
Oh, yeah, gorgeous voice.
It is.
Okay, very briefly,
Can you hear it all?
Is it because of your hearing?
my experience was very different from Anita's in that I did not go on an organized tour to Ireland. Having said that, it was organized. It was under
Sorry.
It was sponsored by St. Anne's Catholic Church, and it was entitled The Celebration of Celtic Spirituality. And it was scheduled from May 24th to June 2nd of 2012. So clearly that was
Yeah, just have one. of them.
longer ago. The trip was led by Ann Doherty, who was the director of the choir at the church. It was intended to be for the choir, and they were scheduled to sing at a number of cathedrals in Ireland. But not enough signed up for the trip, so it was open to us as Ann's friends and family. Also on the trip, for some of you that might remember him, Craig Maxim was part of the tour. So that was kind of fun. Well, the part of the group of us that went had to come back home, so they left on June 2nd. So what I'm going to talk about is very briefly the next 3 days. On June 3rd, we took the train, as Anita told you could do, from Dublin to Belfast, and we ended up taking a 10:30 train, probably because we were saying goodbye to the people that were coming home. We we were scheduled to stay at the Europa Hotel, which is a very significant hotel right there in the middle of Belfast. It's within about a 3-minute walking time from the train station. The Europa Hotel has the uniqueness of being the most bombed hotel in the world. And during the Troubles, that's where a lot of the journalists stayed. And it was, it was built and renovated in about 1971. So it was one of the really pretty locations. But there was a time when all of the windows were blown out of the hotel over time. The unique part of it was no one ever died there. So that was pretty neat. But Anita already told you about Clinton negotiating the agreement, the peace agreement, and that was done at the Europa Hotel. And in the Europa Hotel, and I would suggest to anybody who goes to Belfast, you at least walk through that hotel if you choose not to stay there. Because when we were there, there was a timeline that you could follow all the way around the stairway, and it identified a whole lot of the things that went on. We checked in, and Anne had made reservations for us to be met by the black taxis, and this was a very wonderful and unique part of our trip. We had 2 taxis, 1 driver. Well, there I am. Now can you hear me without my phone?
No, we need your phone.
No, I need your phone. Okay. So the black taxis, one of the tour guides was Catholic, and one of them was Protestant. So they took us to each of the places that they wanted to see. And one of the things is a wall that divides part of Belfast. And along that wall is all kinds of graffiti, much of which, or some of it, is anti-American. But we signed our names on it, and as we were wont to do. They also took us downtown to the Sinn Féin headquarters, and we're standing on the corner reading a plaque there about Sinn Féin, and here come these guys out of this headquarters, and it looks like they're going to have a fight, and we decide, I think it's time for us to go. At 3:15 that day, we had a reservation for a tour of the Titanic construction site. And we go 4 floors down to where the Titanic was constructed. And it was all the way across. So we got to walk the breadth and the depth of the Titanic. And it was so big that when they put the rivets in, 2 people to put the rivets in, one to hold the thing and another one to hit it, because there wasn't any room for one person to be able to do it. So we had a really interesting young guide for that. And we were not able to see the Titanic Museum because it had closed by the time we got done. So the extension from the Titanic construction site to the pump house was our tour. Then that evening, this same young woman took us on a ghost tour of Belfast. Again, I would put that on my list if I were you. It was great fun. I do want to just say a couple things about what Anita has talked about. One of them having to do with Irish food. Now, we spent a lot of time on a bus during our tour too. but because it was not a tour that everything was paid for us, we stopped in all these little villages and went in and had lunch. And the Irish soup is wonderful. It might be called vegetable. It might be called split pea. It might be called lamb, but it's all pureed and it all looks the same. And it's very interesting. And then with the brown bread, I mean, what a wonderful lunch. Oh, we loved it. And of course, the pubs. Oh my gosh. I just got done talking to my eye doctor, and they just got back from spending a vacation on the west coast of Ireland. And his dedication was a Guinness each day. So the next day, June 4th, we took a bus that took us up to the giant causeway. And when you're looking at the map that Anita gave you, it's in Londonderry, and it's way right on the coast. It is now, as of 1986, a UNESCO site. It's considered one of 7 wonders of the UK. It takes you about an hour and a half to walk down to the causeway and to experience it. You can pay to go on a tour, but if you Google their tours, there are all kinds of folks that say, what a ripoff. The causeway is 4,000 interlocking basalt columns that extend, out into the ocean. And of course, in Ireland, they have all kinds of little leprechauns and stuff. They would have to have a myth about how this was built. And their myth is that it was built by Finn McCool as a way to get to Scotland to fight with Benadonner, who was obviously a big guy that he wanted to get rid of. Well, he got over there and he saw Benadonner. Oh my gosh, he was huge. So Finn McCool comes back. His wife disguises him as a baby. Benadonner comes and looks at him and says, if that's the size of the baby, the father must be way bigger than I am, and goes back. But now there's a lot of attention, again, like with the Moors, there's lots of bird activity and flora and fauna that needs to be saved for this. But this is considering, I think, one of the most important things to see. So I feel like we went to the Bushmill distillery on our way back to Dublin, and then we flew out of Dublin. So I do encourage you to go to Ireland. I thought it was a wonderful, gorgeous country. And, there are songs about the green, and the greens are so different. And of course, you can rent a car if you like to drive on the other side of the road. And so back to you, Anita.
Thank you, Helen. Let's give Helen a nice hand. I'll put my hearing aids back. Let's do the last 2. Okay, here we go. Are we okay now? Okay, let's do the last 2. We only have 2 slides left. Okay, here's the group of 44 people. You can see Tony lying down on the front. He's a big man. Okay, in spite of being his size, he had, as I said, some concerns about Northern Ireland. You always look for my sister who has a yellow coat on. And so she would be on the west side of the picture, second row, and I'm there with her. We wore raincoats a lot. It rains. It's a soft, quiet rain. Part of reasons why it's such a luscious green country. Okay.
Yeah.
And then this is the final picture. Okay. This was us. We flew back to O'Hare. It's about an 8-hour drive. Don't I wish? 8-hour flight, wonderful flight. And we spent the night in a hotel right out by the airport. And this was us the next morning having coffee. It looks like we're playing cards, which we do a lot. And we just were, it was a bittersweet to say goodbye. It was such a wonderful, wonderful trip. I would do it again in a heartbeat, and I recommend it to you. I would say about the Irish people, they're fun, and that means the whole North as well as the Republic of Ireland. They're friendly. They never meet a stranger. They're warm. They're welcoming. They're fun. All the things that you know. And I've always said about an Irishman, an Irish woman, they pick up a clock and you say, well, that's interesting. That's a clock. And I go, and I have a story to tell you. They're wonderful storytellers, and they go on and on. And that was one of the reasons why my sister and I decided not to kiss the Blarney Stone, because part of it is when you kiss it, you get the gift of gab, and we already have it. And on that note, we will end. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you so much. Anybody, you have some Irish people here that went to Ireland? Okay, well, okay, somebody, you want to make some comment?
Well, I only went to 2 places in Ireland. I went to John's Causeway, and then we were in Dublin at the Trinity College and the library there. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place that she chose well. Yeah, I would do Belfast better as Helen did it better. We were there exactly 24 hours, and I didn't realize that we were getting shortchanged, but you know, you get what you pay for.
Yeah, I was wondering about, I'm sorry, how was the ages of the people on your tour? Were they,
There might be some.
did they move along, or were they?
Yeah. The ages of the people were they were 40 to 70, and then there were my sister and I, and we were called the sisters or the girls. Okay. And there was a group there. They were so wonderful. That was the best group I'd ever been in. And, you know, all the groups I've gone on, they've been good, but these were really good. And there was a group of 6 that had been gone through, women that had gone through high school. They were celebrating their 60th birthday that year, and their husbands were all good friends, and they were so much fun. There's a group of about 6 from New Jersey, a group of about 6 from Michigan. There were a daughter and a mother, 2 sets of those. And then there were the girls, and that was us. And every time we got on the bus in the morning, because one of us was late the first morning, I won't say who it was, of the 2 of us, but Tony would scream at us, "Are the girls here yet?" And I would scream back, "Girls are present," and then we take off. So anyway, I hope that answers it. Anybody else want to comment? Okay.
Can you hear me?
No, I did not. Okay, did I go to
Hello?
the GPO in Dublin? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
the GPO.
You want to explain that to us?
Yes, it's at the bottom of the post office. It talks about the Easter
Oh,
Rising.
sure, yeah,
It, can you hear me?
okay.
Can you hear me?
Anybody else
Do you want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I went there in 1983 and in 1985, and the one area in Northern Ireland I went to was Donegal. And I remember soldiers, you know, stationed, and that was a little scary. When we went back, it was 2014 and obviously very different. But I will say, the first time around, we stayed at bed and breakfast, which ended up being at that time about $15 a night per person. And you got a breakfast with it that was fabulous. And one of the places we stayed, this gentleman was there. And he said he was asked to repair a rock wall for this family. And he said, I've never done it, but I'll give it a go. And when he finished, he said he loved every rock.
Wow.
And I thought that was really interesting, but I agree with you. Wonderful country.
Good. You can't tell when you're going from Republic of Ireland into Northern Ireland. There's no walls there. There's no fences. There's no people guards. You don't need a passport. You only know it because in Ireland, you use the euro, and in Northern Ireland, you use the pound.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Okay.
Can you hear me?
It says here the GPO is the basement of the post office in Dublin and explains the history of the Easter Rising. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. And it's close to Trinity College. Okay. Next time I'm back there, I'll remember.
Elizabeth.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. Okay. Yes.
Okay, well, we went to Ireland the end of September, but we did a cruise around the island.
Oh, okay.
But unfortunately, we were in a hurricane.
Oh,
So we missed 3 of the ports. We missed Dingle and Limerick and Galway.
okay.
And then we went past Belfast and sheltered for 3 days.
Mhm.
And then we did go back and do Belfast and Donegal.
Okay.
But anyway, what was interesting was we got the 2 excursions we'd signed up for were the Blarney Castle, which I did not kiss, but I climbed it with my husband so he could kiss it with everybody else in line. And then we did the Giant's Causeway, and the other places we just toured. But driving to those places, to the Blarney Castle, we had somebody from the Republic of Ireland who told us history. Then when we went to Giant's Causeway, we had somebody that had born, raised in Belfast. And so you got kind of a different picture. And she told us, she said, life changed in 1998. She said her son grew up during that time. And when he was 18, he said, I'm out of here. I'm never coming back. And he's in London and has never been back. Her younger son didn't experience it, so he's still in Belfast. But I thought that was, you know, just their histories of how it became 2 and how all of it was very different. And I thought it was very interesting. And one other thing, we docked at Cobb, whatever. And that's also the place that the first person that went through Ellis Island, she sailed from there, she and her 2 younger brothers. And there's a statue of them. I thought that was pretty cool.
They do. Yeah. Thank you so much. Very intriguing. Yeah. Anybody else want to say anything? See, you're of Irish heritage, right? Is that what I?
Yes, my grandfather was an O'Brien.
Oh, okay. And I think Mary Jean also said, what's your family? Hogan? Hogan. Yeah. Any name ending in GAN is Irish. Okay. Yeah. Well, one of those amazing facts, you know, somewhere in that head. Yes. Marilyn?
My grandfather was a McGinn.
Okay. Okay. The MC there. Oh, you just wanted to say
I
that.
just wanted to say.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Anybody else? Yeah. It's just, it was so wonderful doing this. I mean, just recalling the wonderful times that I had, especially on the second trip. And I said to my sister at the end, I said, so how about a second trip? And she said, I'd do it, Anita, and it will be Italy. And I've been to Italy, and I said, and I will go with you if you would like. She said, I love it. So hopefully that's in the near future. Okay. All right. We will let you go. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming.